Stations. Pleased to be joined by the Chancellor at the University of Mississippi, or Ole Miss if you prefer, Dr. Glenn Boyce. Thank you, sir, so much for your time. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as we roll into Thanksgiving week.
Well, thank you, Richard, and we appreciate the opportunity to be on, and also happy Thanksgiving to you and to all your listeners out there. We're excited about this week. Our students needed a break, I can tell you that.
It's crazy. You spend so much time building up to the start of a new school year, and you have that anticipation in July and August, and then you blink and you made it to Thanksgiving break, and you're at the semester break at the end of the year, and it really goes by quickly, doesn't it?
It does, and what you just said, it's amazing. All of us look up, and it's coming to final exams before you know it. It's just such a busy time at any university, but at our university, we're so dynamic and we have so many things happening, and there's so much engagement and involvement, all the way from what we're doing out there with our activities and what we're doing out there with clubs and organizations, along with our centers, our research, everything going on at this university, new programming, and of course our athletic department. That time just flies by, and the demands on our time has really become extraordinary.
We'll get to athletics in a second. I wanted to ask you about a story that I was referencing before the break. It was out on Fox News this weekend, and it was a report about Northeastern students making their way south and just the explosive growth that you've seen in Southern universities in general, Southeastern Conference universities in particular, with student growth from some different regions of the country. We have heard over and over and over about the enrollment cliff and the fact that there's no doubt about it, it is coming. Is it coming for schools in the South? Is it coming for Ole Miss at some point?
Well, Richard, it's a little bit, you kind of have to get into the details of what an enrollment cliff is sometimes. And it's already here, and it's been here, especially for Mississippi schools. So part of the enrollment cliff is predicated by the fact that at certain times, for whatever reason, senior classes, percentage-wise, don't end up going to higher education. More and more students, I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you, but more and more students decide education is not a route for them. So in turn, there's fewer students for all of us to compete over. Mississippi's a good example. Is you have fewer graduating students, and if the percentage doesn't go up in number of students who are of those graduating students going to college or universities, well, you've got an instant enrollment cliff there. And when you talk about the fact that that we increased in enrollment this year, you have to really go back and look at the statistics and data and ask yourself, well, those years that we decreased, how far did we decrease? And how many students did we lose? And are we just now getting back to some of our enrollment peaks, or are we exceeding our enrollment peaks? And for the most part, we're blessed at Ole Miss because obviously we've had enormous increases. Our increases would compare to almost anybody in the nation. And when you talk about the Northeast, or you talk about the idea that students are coming from all over the country, yes, that's true. And one of the reasons that that's true, without question, is the SEC brand is so incredibly powerful across the nation. And what they see on television and what they experience when they're sitting there watching, and the way that we reach out these days and the way that we compete for students these days is so different than in the past. And I always kind of laugh and I say, look, you know, athletics gives you this enormous visibility in the Northeast and all across the country, no question. But you still have to be at your very best when they come touch you. You still have to be able to recruit them, because students today, Richard, will take and apply to, on an average, 5 to 7 universities. Because with the common application today, we anticipate receiving about 45,000 applications this year for our freshman class. That's what we anticipate getting this year, about a 7% increase over last year when we exceeded 40,000. See, so they're out there, and it's not like we once did where we were all filling out separate applications, sending in our fees and all that. It's a different world. So in turn, they're going to take and look at a lot of different schools, and they're going to get up and go visit these schools. They're actually going to take the time and the commitment to really look hard at these schools, because there's no question it's one of the biggest decisions they'll make. So there you go. And at Ole Miss, of course, and this year would be another case. I mean, we had 58% of the entire growth of the IHL system this year. I mean, we're one of the reasons that everything is growing without question.
One of the criticisms of Ole Miss when you took over as chancellor, and it's hard to believe that that's been 6 years ago, is that the process was broken. You had lots and lots of alumni, anecdotally, saying, my son or daughter never even heard from Ole Miss, or they got a postcard in the letter. You made some pretty dramatic changes with your admissions team just right out of the gate. Can you tell us what those were?
Yes, and I heard the same things, and I heard them in waves. So no question. You know, and I appreciated it. I mean, I appreciate knowing when we're not at our best. Okay, but here's what we did. We immediately recruiting and admissions was underneath the vice chancellor for student affairs structurally, and so it was down in our governance structure, and I don't think there was as much attention being placed on it certainly as it was in today's world. Because in today's world, everybody has a separate department and division for nothing but recruiting students. I mean, we have our own vice chancellor over enrollment management. Enrollment management has the admissions office, financial aid office. Everything needs to be synergistically working together. So there's one place for parents and students to go to get everything that they need. They don't need to be moving between different divisions, different vice chancellors. So we just restructured the entire effort. And then the second thing you have to do to be really good, you better have a wonderful marketing team and a wonderful communications team because it is absolutely critical that you stay fresh with what you do with your marketing and communications. I think one of the neatest things we did was we sent these alumni boxes to all of our alumni students. And we said, here's a box with all these neat Ole Miss things in them. And we want you to come to Ole Miss because we want our alumni children to come desperately to this university and have the same kind of experience that their parents did. And so, in turn, when you make changes like that, and then here's the other thing that matters, Richard. It's kind of interesting. We send everything digitally to students. So parents would say, my student's not receiving anything. Well, no, actually, your student is receiving a lot because we're on them a lot and we're sending stuff left and right to them. But there's no way those students are going to show that stuff to mom and dad. You know that's not happening, and there's not much communication about all the things that are sending to them. So the real criticism of us, which was absolutely true, is there's nothing in the mailboxes. There's nothing that mom and dad can touch and feel. Because mom and dad are going to the mailbox, they're the ones getting the mail out, and they're not seeing anything from Ole Miss. Okay, and so that was really a serious problem. And so in turn, we began to develop a strategy for it all, for the entire picture, to be digital, to try to be digital with mom and dad as well, as much as we can. But we all get flooded, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm only going to add so much open rate on emails and different things like that, but also to try to put as much as we thought necessary in those mailboxes and important information in those mailboxes and real high quality information in those mailboxes. And then one of the most important things is when they came to visit, we needed their visit to be perfect. And we needed them to know where to park, to where to go to meet them, to greet them, and to really have the opportunity to spend a day inside the culture of this university. And I can tell you, these tours that parents go on, and we have thousands and thousands of visitors every year. It's amazing. Are led by our students. And we have a group of ambassador students who know more about this university, Richard, than I will ever know. And they are incredible. And they walk backward all day long, answering questions. And they walk all over this campus, showing them what the culture of this campus is like. And whenever I can, I will stop and talk to all these groups whenever I can because they come through till I see them. And I leave my formal office open so they can see some of the history of this great university. We absolutely have it down to a science, and you have to have it because that's the expectation. And that's the expectation if you're going to win in the SEC with students, because our competition, Richard, is the SEC. It's really tough out there. And we already are very, very proud of having more in-state students than we've ever had in our lives. And we will continue to recruit Mississippi really, really hard. And in particular, we need to recruit our community colleges even harder. Because part of, if there is going to be an enrollment cliff, if there does continue to be this enormous enrollment challenge for us, then the community colleges and those students are part of the solution because those are outstanding students. And from my experience, of course, all those years, I know how strong they are, and I know that they're looking forward to their next decision.
We're going to take a quick timeout. On the other side of this break, we're going to try to hit 3 topics with Dr. Boyce before he goes. We'll ask about the football situation. We will talk about the IHL in terms of how it funds universities in Mississippi and whether or not that is something that needs to be tweaked. And then we'll also talk about the relationship between Ole Miss and its Oxford campus with the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson. We'll try to squeeze those 3 things in on the other side of the break. It's Mornings with Richard Cross. Dr. Glenn Boyce is my guest. We're back with you right after this. Back with you on this Monday morning, the 24th of November, the start of Thanksgiving week. Dr. Glenn Boyce, Chancellor at Ole Miss, is my guest this morning. I don't think, Chancellor, there is any coincidence that the success that the football program has seen over the last 5 years coincides with the success and growth in enrollment numbers. This is obviously a time of concern right now for a lot of Ole Miss fans. Lane Kiffin has been in the news a ton. You were part of a meeting with he and your athletics director, Keith Carter, on Friday, leading to a statement that says we'll know more about the future of Kiffin and the football program after the Egg Bowl this coming Friday. What can you tell us about that meeting or this overall situation?
Well, let me say this, Richard, and I'll address that question here right at the end. But I want to talk about something more important, and that is these players. I want to talk about the season that these players have given us and what a special team this is. This is a team that knows how to finish. This is a team that knows that they make plays when plays need to be made. They understand that. And this is a team that is incredibly mature and well led. They stay focused. And I stay in contact with, because, I'm a big athletic fan, obviously. And as chancellor of the university, it matters to me how these guys are thinking and what they're thinking about. These are my student athletes, and these are the young people who are providing all this joy and happiness we find out around here. And so in turn, the players, it's up to us to make sure that they have a consistent routine. It's up to us that they have consistency in everything they touch and feel so that they stay focused and that they're ready, because obviously this is an enormous game that'll be played here Friday at over in Starkville. And we know the Egg Bowl is always an important game. We get that. But, kind of interesting too, Richard, is that a lot of these young men are from out of state that play on these teams these days. They don't have the same history of the Egg Bowl that we did all those many years when most of our players were coming from Mississippi and border states. So everybody needs to really work hard this week to put a complete focus on this game and what it means, even though obviously for us the playoffs are in play and for them a bowl game's in play. The second thing I'd like to say that people don't hear, I don't think enough about, we have an elite assistant coaching staff. They're absolutely amazing, and they do a tremendous job all up and down the line. And Coach Giffen has done a great job putting together that coaching staff. And that coaching staff is really where the players stay focused. That coaching staff is the ones that keep them grounded. It keeps them led, and it makes sure that they're ready and prepared to play the game. And so I'm excited about the fact that this coaching staff has done this kind of job this year with this team, especially as teams change so significantly from year to year. You've got to be quite an assistant coach to have that relationship with new players and put together a unit that can play together effectively to win. And then the final point I'm going to make about that is, people talk about our stadium, Richard, and for some reason, and, I disagree with national sports writers about 99% of the time, because no offense to them, they've got a job to do. I get it. But the thing is we never get enough respect for who we are and what we are. And I just feel that way about us. And I would tell you that since 2021 at Vaught Hemingway, we're 35-3. The last 22 games, we're 21-1. If Vaught Hemingway isn't a hard place to play and isn't a tough stadium to win at, then I don't know what stadium is. I really don't. And when I hear about this stadium is filled up and the loud noise and everything else, and then I think about our record at our home stadium because of our fans our supporters, and because of those wonderful and amazing students that come fill that section up all the time, I'm thinking to myself, you know, you might want to start looking toward Vaught Hemingway and toward Oxford, Mississippi to find out a tough place to play. Coaches know that. I can tell you, coaches know that when they come into this town to play. At some point, I think the national media might want to take a look at that. So, and as far as Coach Kiffin goes, you know, once again, we put the statement out, and the statement pretty much speaks for itself. And so talks will continue. You know, they will continue through the week between Coach Kiffin and Keith. But our focus and our emphasis right now, and we're determined to be focused on this, is winning this last football game, being an 11-1 team, and being the first team in the history of the University of Mississippi to make the college football playoffs. And if we're not seated higher than we currently are, to have one of the greatest sporting events to ever come to Mississippi, and that would be a home playoff game.
Well, I'm going to have to invite you back. We're out of time. And I do want to talk about funding formulas for the IHL and the relationship between UMMC. I certainly agree with you. The disappointing part of this story is that some of the stories of this football team and these players have gone by the wayside as coaching decisions have dominated the headlines. Dr. Boyce, I appreciate your time very much this morning. Great visiting with you. And, again, happy Thanksgiving. Look forward to visiting with you again soon.
Thank you so much, Richard. Same to you.
Dr. Glenn Boyce, Chancellor of the University of Mississippi, joining us on this Monday morning, the 24th of November. 8 o'clock hour is on the way. We'll get to that coming up next with you on Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.